We have all been there. Your child is on the floor, overcome with big emotions. Maybe you offered the blue cup instead of the red one, or you announced it was time to leave the park. In that moment, our instinct as caring parents is to talk. We rush in with a flurry of words, trying to reason, to explain, to soothe, or even to scold. We might say things like, "It's just a cup, it's not a big deal," or "We'll come back to the park tomorrow, please stop crying." We believe that our logic and our reassurance can somehow penetrate their distress and bring them back to a state of calm. This desire to fix the situation with language is, honestly, deeply ingrained in us. However, as many of us have discovered through frustrating real-life experience, this approach rarely works. In fact, it often seems to have the opposite effect, escalating the tantrum into a full-blown meltdown. The more we talk, the louder they scream. The more we try to reason, the more dysregulated they become. It can feel baffling and deeply discouraging. We are trying to help, to connect, to guide them through their upset. Yet our efforts only seem to add fuel to the emotional fire. We are left feeling ineffective and helpless, wondering what we are doing so wrong when our intentions are so good. The issue isn't with our intentions, but with our method. When a child is in the throes of a tantrum, they are not in a state where they can process language effectively. Common phrases we rely on, like "calm down," are not only useless, but can be perceived as a dismissal of their very real feelings. Telling a child to use your words is equally unhelpful, as the part of their brain that controls rational thought and language is simply not accessible to them at that moment. We are asking them to do something they are neurobiologically incapable of doing, which only increases their sense of frustration and overwhelm. This creates a cycle of escalation. We talk, they get louder, we get more animated, trying to get through to them, and our heightened energy and urgent facial expressions can feel threatening to an already panicked child. From their perspective, a large adult is looming over them, making loud noises and strange faces, which only confirms their internal feeling of danger. Our attempts to soothe are misinterpreted by their primitive brain as another threat, causing their internal alarm system to blare even more intensely. We must accept that in these moments, our words are not the bridge to connection we hope them to be. To understand why our words fail, we need to look at what is happening inside our child's brain during a tantrum. A meltdown is not a behavioral choice or a form of manipulation. It is a neurobiological event. When your child is triggered by something, whether it's a broken cookie or a sibling taking their toy, their amygdala, the brain's emotional command center, perceives a threat. It doesn't matter if the threat seems minor to us. To their developing brain, the intense feeling of disappointment or frustration is overwhelming and can feel as real and as dangerous as a physical threat. This triggers the body's fight, flight, or freeze response. Once this survival mode is activated, a crucial change occurs in the brain. The prefrontal cortex, which is the logical, thinking part of the brain responsible for reasoning, impulse control, and processing language, goes temporarily offline. Think of it like a power outage in the brain's main office. All energy is being diverted to the more primitive emotional parts of the brain that are focused on survival. Your child is no longer operating from a place of reason. They are running on pure, unfiltered emotion. Their body is flooded with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, preparing them to fight or flee. This brain-based explanation is why a child cannot simply calm down on command. They are physically and neurologically incapable of accessing the tools needed to regulate themselves in that moment. Asking them to use your words is like asking someone to solve a complex math problem while they are being chased by a bear. The necessary brain functions are just not available. The child is not ignoring you or being defiant. They literally cannot hear or process your logical explanations. Your words become meaningless noise, adding to the sensory overload they are already experiencing. So, when your child is kicking, screaming, and arching their back because they wanted a different snack, their brain is not processing the logic that another snack is available. It is screaming, "Danger! I am not safe. My needs are not being met." Their intense physical and vocal reactions are a manifestation of this internal alarm. The storm of a tantrum is not something that can be talked away. It is a biological process that needs to run its course, and the most important thing a child needs during this storm is not a lecture, but a lighthouse, a calm, steady presence that signals safety. If talking is off the table, what can we do instead? The answer is counterintuitive yet profoundly effective. We do less. We stop talking and focus on becoming a calm, nonverbal anchor for our child. A child having a tantrum does not need to be talked out of their feelings. They need to feel safe enough for their thinking brain to come back online. The key to creating that safety is our own calm presence. Our quiet, steady demeanor communicates far more powerfully than any words we could say. It sends a clear message to their panicked brain. You are safe. I am here. I can handle these big feelings. Let me share a story. A father was with his 3-year-old son, Leo, who had a complete meltdown because his favorite tower of blocks was accidentally knocked over. Leo threw himself to the floor, screaming and crying inconsolably. The father's first instinct was to say, "It's okay, we can build it again." But he stopped himself. Instead, he simply sat on the floor a few feet away from Leo, making sure the space was safe. He didn't talk, he didn't touch, he just sat there, breathing slowly and maintaining a relaxed, neutral expression. He became a quiet observer of his son's storm. For a few minutes, Leo's tantrum continued at full force. He kicked his legs and cried with an intensity that was hard to witness. His father remained silent, a calm and steady presence in the room. He wasn't ignoring his son. He was fully present with him, holding the space for his emotions. Slowly, the intensity of Leo's crying began to lessen. The frantic screams turned into gulping sobs. After another minute, Leo looked over at his father, who was still sitting quietly. The father simply offered a soft, gentle look in return, still not speaking. This silent exchange was the first sign of reconnection. Finally, Leo's body relaxed. His breathing slowed. He crawled over and collapsed into his father's lap, burying his face in his chest. Only then, once Leo was calm and reconnected, did his father speak, whispering, "That was so sad when your tower fell down. You worked so hard on it." He waited until Leo's thinking brain was back online before offering comfort and words. By staying silent and present during the storm, he allowed his son to move through the emotion and find his way back to safety, strengthening their connection in the process. This powerful act of doing less achieved so much more. Of course, tantrums rarely happen at a convenient time or in the privacy of our homes. They often erupt in the middle of a grocery store aisle, at a restaurant, or during a family gathering. The added pressure of public scrutiny can make us feel flustered, embarrassed, and desperate to stop the behavior immediately. Our instinct might be to resort to bribes, threats, or urgent whispers of, "Please be quiet, everyone is looking at us." However, your child's brain works the same way in public as it does at home. They are still in survival mode and unable to process your words. Your first step, if possible, is to change the environment. Your goal is to find a quieter, more private space where you and your child can ride out the storm without an audience. This might mean leaving your shopping cart and carrying your child to a quiet corner of the store, stepping outside, or going to the car. This move is not a punishment. It is a supportive action to reduce stimulation and give your child the space they need. If you cannot leave, try to create a small bubble of calm. Kneel down to your child's level, turn your back to onlookers, and focus entirely on your child. Once you are in a more manageable space, the principle remains the same. Less talk, more calm presence. Your calm body language is your most powerful tool. Keep your movements slow and minimal. Maintain a relaxed facial expression and breathe deeply. You can say one simple anchoring phrase like, "I'm right here," to let them know you are with them. Then, you wait. You are the lighthouse in their storm, offering a steady, unwavering light that signals safety. Ignore the stares or comments from others. Your priority is not their judgment. It is your child's emotional well-being. Sometimes, you may not have the luxury of waiting it out. If you are on a tight schedule or need to leave, you can shift into a mode of compassionate removal. Acknowledge the feeling and state the reality clearly. For example, "You are so upset we have to leave the playground. I understand. It's time to go now." You might offer a simple physical choice like, "Would you like me to carry you, or do you want to hold my hand?" If they are too dysregulated to choose, you make the choice for them. You calmly and confidently pick them up and carry them to the car, accepting that they will likely cry all the way. Getting through the moment is the victory.